Hi, son.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, yeah. Morning, Neil.
Morning.
You're 14th in the table. You're 4 points above the relegation zone. You won 4 out of 5 last home games. The mood must be very good.
Yeah, I mean it's been good all season. It's just we've got to try and start picking points up away from home. You can't keep going at home, but we always knew that the home form would be critical, really, and it's given us a little bit of a leeway at the moment. But with all these difficult games coming up, it's just as well, really, because we don't kid ourselves. We're in that pack, and we've just got to do the best we can.
Why do you think there is that difference between your form at home and what you did away?
I think the fans have been amazing, really, and I think we relaxed a lot more, and we haven't been punished as much as we do away from home. You get punished by all sorts of things away from home, and I think it's been our own fault at most of the time. Yeah, we got beaten by better teams, but I think a lot of the time we've shot ourselves in the foot. So we've got to brush up. We're still learning, and I do think we've improved as the season's gone on.
Is that a challenge, if you like, you put out to the players this week, to do it away from home?
Yeah, I think, the game's coming up. Watford's, I think, is a very difficult game. I think they're a good side, personally. I think, they've been in the top flight a few years now, and physicality, they're so strong and physical, and that's in a good way, not in a bad way. I thought they played some super stuff the other night at Everton. So we know it's going to be difficult. So we've got to be a little bit more disciplined than we have. One or two players a little bit probably lacking in discipline away from home, especially the West Ham game. So if we do lack that bit of discipline, we'll get punished by teams like Watford and West Ham.
As long as your home form holds up, would it be possible, do you think, to go through the season not winning away from home and still surviving?
Well, you'd have to answer that, yeah. We'd have to win a few good games at home, I think, then, wouldn't we? Some of the top teams. You just don't know. I mean, you don't want to lose games away from home, and we've had opportunities in quite a number of games to get things. But sometimes the results away from home or anywhere are the ones that you don't predict. That's the wonderful thing about British football. You can't predict anything anymore. I think, when you look at the top 4 or 5 clubs, you're usually right that that you're not going to get much out of those. But I think anywhere else, there are surprising results.
If you win tomorrow, you'd have 17 points from 17 games, averaging a point a game. If someone had offered you that at the start of the season, after 17 matches, would you take it?
I think you've got to say yes. If I'm honest, I'm disappointed we're not on 20 plus, if I'm honest, with the games we've thrown about, with the points we've thrown away. And that's the home points, more than anything, which shows we have given ourselves an opportunity, but we're still very, very big favourites to get relegated, and quite rightly so, with the squad that we have in comparison with others. But we've got a very tight squad, a very good, together squad, and I think the fans have brought that about. It's almost like we go into each game as a club rather than a team, and I think that's been the pleasing thing for me, the way everybody's got around each other, and sometimes we've made things better than what they are.
And that 4-point cushion you've got at the moment, it's about maintaining that now and building it, I suppose. Yeah,
I mean, if you gave me a chance of getting 4 points cushion by after the Tottenham game in January, I'd snap your hand off. But we've never done things easy here, so I don't expect things to go that smoothly. But it's not, it's nice that the players, we don't always got what we deserve. I think 1 or 2 games this year we should have had a lot more out of them. But I thought the quality that we showed against Southampton, I thought we deserved that game, that was the win, and the fans helped that. The fans were fantastic.
You talked last week, Neil, about your little trip to France to look at a few players. Any of those further down the line?
Not really, no. I mean, we've spoke about a number of players, and even the players that we're talking about signing. As I said to Kevin Blackwell and Ken Chew this week, It doesn't mean they're going to be better than what we've got, really. You don't. No matter what you pay for a player, it doesn't guarantee that they're going to, hit it off in the Premier League. So you've got to be, you've got to just keep things at level, on a level platform, really. We've got to look to improve the squad if we can. But at the same time, the lads that are in the squad at the moment are doing really well. We probably have to prune that a little and make sure we do sort of give ourselves one or two more options after the January, and that's what we'll be aiming to do.
You said that Emiliano Sala was one of the players you saw. Has that moved any closer?
No, none of them's really moved on. I think we just, we're looking at targets all over the show, and we've crossed a few off this week, and probably added another one or two targets as well. So it is very difficult. January is such a difficult window, and you can pay over the top. And I think I'm not saying that clubs have been punished in the past, but it's a difficult period, really, and I don't really want to bring anybody that's not better than what we've got.
Those who you crossed off, was that over price or their view about coming to Cardiff?
A mixture of everything. I'll tell you one day.
Right. Is it tough?
It's not. It wasn't nothing to do with price. No, right. It's just all sorts of things that we didn't feel they were the right for the club.
Yeah. Is it difficult to bring players in?
Yeah, very difficult. Yeah, probably as difficult as I've ever seen it. But Mehmet and Ken are really working hard. They made numerous phone calls. We haven't got a director of football as such. Are you with me? So we're doing it between ourselves, really. Most of the Premier clubs have probably got 5 or 6 more staff than what in that area. But we still sort of looking at targets and trying to like I say, different ones crop up each day, and we have to look at everyone, even if it's it's a waste of time. We give everybody a look at, and then we look at what we're looking for in a player and try and bring somebody in of that caliber, that sort of mode, what we're looking for.
Just wider afield, Neil. There's obviously been a lot of debate this week around Raheem Sterling and what happened at the Chelsea game last week. What have you made of that debate? What did you make of the incident? Did it spark anything for you?
Well, it did nothing. It just made me. I know they say that was a racial comment. Are you with me? But I've had it where the hatred comes through for me as a manager, and I've reported stewards to ask them to remove people over my career, and not a lot has been done. I think these people are so vitriol. They go to matches for that at certain, and that's gone back from when I was in my 20s. I remember going to a game and fans just, because I played for the opposition in the stand, just turning and not even watching the game, not really bothered about the game, just the hatred coming through. And I think you can see the hatred. And then when they use a word like they did, it becomes racial, etc. Are you with me? But I think it's just hatred. I just think they are absolute people that just go for that type of thing. And I don't think people are strong enough alongside them to report them. I don't think stewards are strong enough or brave enough, really, because they don't get paid a lot. And you see the vitriol and some of the size of these people. The only thing for me is, if anybody is caught like that, because we do have good CCTV now, they should be banned for life, not for a season or two. They should be banned for life, really. That's for me the only,
What about Sterling's general point that he felt the media portrays black players in a different way to white players?
Well, I remember asking a chap, one of the journalists who I know on the Daily Mail, tell me how many black, they're talking about how many black managers there are, at the moment. And I said, how many black journalists are there on the Daily Mail staff? I don't think it's many. So it's something that we have to learn all over. I just thought Raheem handled it really well. He's had some stick over the past. I think he was the lad that left QPR, didn't he? Just before I went, and I was more concerned the abuse he got when he played for England. I thought that was totally out of order. That you know. And how he's handled it in the best possible way by becoming one of the best players in the country, and that's the best way to answer it. And it's horrible when you have to smile, but you can't do anything else, because, like a manager, you know, when I get abused and criticised, and you can see the contorted look on the faces on a lot of these, and I laugh it off, because you can't do anything else really. But it's. I do think it's going to have to be, you know, there's going to have to be action taken from higher up, I think.
Right, that's the point I was going to make. Just last question on that. Do you think there needs to be tougher action? Because we have these incidents, there's uproar, there's outrage, there's statements about we are determined to stand for it, etc., and then it calms down, and then we have another incident later on. It just seems to go in this circle.
Yeah. I'd love to see the government appoint sort of what do you call it? A mobile unit, if you know what I mean, to go to certain games that you know, and just see if anything happens, and they can go in and sort them out. I don't think stewards really are cut out to go into a pack of grown men with hatred that they've got and try and eject them from the ground. I think it needs a proper law to do that. So, you know, I'd like to see a mobile unit, maybe one or two mobile units, go around and sort them out, if I'm honest.
Right. Last question, and again it's referring to matches, atmospheres that can get a bit heated. It's Sheffield United against West Brom tonight. It's the live game on TV.
They asked me to cover that. They're sadist, aren't they, really? Yeah. 2002,
the Battle of Bramall Lane.
Yeah.
What do you remember about that?
Not a lot, if I'm honest. Life moves on that quickly. You know. I think Michael Brown's commentating on it tonight. He was one of the, you know, the main people that went down injured. You know, we were accused of all sorts that day. You know, he feigned an injury, which actually kept him out 3 months. So he feigned it well, didn't he? So you know, it was one of those things that you can't be. You know, you can't. I don't look on it back with, you know, with pleasure, if I'm honest. But they're always tough games.
Could that kind of game occur again, or was the game changed?
I think it's always possible a one-off thing, something like that. You know, where just a freak of substitutes and injuries happen. I think it's quite possible that, really. I mean, it's always possible.
Thanks.
Neil, on the hatred business, do you think it's worse now, or is it just that because of the increased number of cameras and coverage of football that it's just given greater spotlight?
I think it's so much better. I disagree with what a lot of people say about it being worse. I don't think it's anywhere. You know, I mean, you have to be there. When I was in my 20s and 30s, and you know, I mean, that was just unbelievable. You know, some of the lads I played with, and what they had to go through. You know, it's just. I think nowadays, because of the coverage and the cameras, you know, it does click. You know, kick, which I think is a good thing, because there's no reason that you can't do something about these people if you've got either better, you know, mobile cameras and things like that, and whatever at these matches. But it is. As I've said, I don't think it's all racial. I just think these guys, when you look at the faces and the contour, the vitriol that comes out of them, I do believe that some of these people just go to games just for this aggro. You know, whether it's opponents, colour or race or managers or whatever it is, it's whatever it takes. You know, whatever they can get, and I think that's been the case for forever, really. And it is a horrible thing to do, but you can't forget it's a minority as well. You know, I think the game's moved on so much. The game is so good. You know, even people. I listened to a lady this morning on the radio, and you know, she was appalled at some of her own fans, and it's got to come from within, really. I think you've got to police your own supporters. And something's got to happen where the law can look after it. You know, I don't think we can leave it to stewards. As I said, it's such a difficult job for these part-time stewards. Are you with me?
Just going back to the transfer business you were talking, you said you probably found it more difficult now than at any time to bring in new signings. Why is that? Is that because of the cost, or is it because of certain individuals you're looking for, the type of character you're looking for, or what?
I just think, when we are looking at a player, we aren't looking at the player and the top half of the Premier League can afford, if you know what I mean. So it already you're looking at a different type of player. You've got to weigh up the cost of that player, you know, and you have to look at the situation. If we got relegated, for example, you know, what would happen to the player? You know, what's the financial implications for the club? You've got to look at so many things, really, and who's available. You know, if you've got a good player, and you know, you don't really want your good players to, you know, to go in January. So it's as difficult as it's ever going to be, and that's why, you know, yes, we are looking at three positions if we can, but at this moment in time, I'm not really confident. I'm probably confident in one position out of the three, if I'm honest, at the moment, and. But I really want to, you know, we've got to give ourselves options right the way through, really, right till the, you know, January. And it looks like if our number 1 or 2 option doesn't come off, once again it might be the end of January, where you lose another 5, 6, 7 games, don't you? You know, that's why it's important if we can get people in before, you know, in that first week in January, they'll be available for the first league match.
Nathaniel Klein is someone you've been linked with. Interest there? Yeah,
I mean, I know Nathaniel. I gave him his debut. You know, a lovely lad. Look, you know, I know his mother well as well. She's always a wonderful woman. But it's the thing about that is as well, they've had a lot of injuries. You know, they're in European competition and the league, and they've got to look after themselves. So, you know, at the moment, that, you know, it's very difficult to get anybody to commit to letting us have one for definite 100%, and you know, we're finding that with everybody.
But if he was available in January, then clearly
he'd be one on our list. Yeah, definitely. You know, we're looking for that position. But at the moment, as I've said, I think, you know, they've got other problems. I don't think they would bother about us at the moment. They'll look after themselves, aren't they?
So the next few games, you've got more away games than home games. So it is crucial now you do start, because you've been in away games, plenty of them.
Yeah, we are.
Everton, even Chelsea until the last 10 minutes or on Tottenham. It is crucial now you start turning those sort of performances.
Yeah, I think, you know, we probably, I know it sounds silly, but to say we don't have a lot of percentage of the ball, I think we've probably been a bit too gung-ho at times in certain games, you know. You know, the Liverpool game comes to mind, where we have to make a change with Gunnarsson, can't carry on, and we're 2-1, 10 minutes to go, you know, so... You know, we change it and we'll leave ourselves wide open down the middle, and 2 goals in 2 minutes or something like that, wouldn't it? You know, things like that. I think we've got to be a little bit stronger and better organised than we have been away, you know, certain games.
And on Watford, it used to be said that Swansea were the model club to go up and show how to stay there. But actually, in their own way, they do it a different way. Maybe they're changing that, giving the manager a 4-year contract, but they have found a way of surviving, haven't they?
Well, I think that what they've done is they've improved every year, and they've got, you know, you've got to have pace and power and athleticism, and they've got that in abundance, really, you know, and they've improved every year. They've stayed up and invested, and like I say, they've got a structure, haven't they? They've got clubs abroad, haven't they, where they can use, and you know, we're a long way short of that at the minute, a long way short.
And last one from me, you mentioned about there's no director of football. Is that going forward, you know, when your time up here is, would you recommend that the club appoint someone like that or look for that?
Well, I think all clubs at this level now will, you know, they'll have to have a structure in place, really. I mean, we've ran before we can. What is it? Walk before. What is it? How do you say it? Run before you can walk. Yeah, and so it's our own fault, really, you know, but that's the same everywhere, you know. I think if you look at our medical staff, we're probably the least. Are you with me? If you look at the PR staff, we're short on every aspect of that, you know, but we're trying to get up as we can. That's why staying in the league would help, because you've got another 12 months then where you can try and become a better club, you know, all round. You're talking about your academy and everything, so it's important, but I think the club in the next 10 years, you'll see a massive difference in the club.
Because some managers don't like the prospect of a director of football, but you're almost saying it's the way forward.
Yeah, it's got. I mean, a manager, whether it's me or Tom, Dick or Harry, you cannot do everything. You know, there's just not enough hours in the day, especially now with the Premier League. There's so many commitments now, not just you guys, but everywhere. you just can't do it. We all need help, I think, and that's why I think that will come in the next few years.
Apologies for creeping in late. I just wondered what your first Division 1 signing was at Notts County and how easy that was compared to what you're trying to do now.
I remember my first signing at Gainsborough because I saw him this week, and I talked to a lad called Andy Lodge to sign for me from Blackburn Rovers to Gainsborough Trinity. I think he was on 25 quid a week, and I told him I could only pay him 20, but it was the future, because I was going to be a success and he was going to come with me. So it's never been easy signing players wherever you are. You've got to convince them that this is the right place and we are the right team for them. And we can only attract a certain amount because we are favourites to get relegated. Are you with me? So it's very difficult to attract established sort of Premier League players, because they all look to the next 3 or 4 years.
Was it more manager to player in the past, or is it just only manager to agent now?
It was definitely manager to player in the past, yeah. I mean, now it's you've got a job to get to the player, haven't you? Nowadays, it's surrounded by so many people. So it does become a lot more. First of all, you have to agree everything with the club as well. I think most managers and clubs still adhere to that, even though it's nice to know if the player wants to come before you start, because at the end of the day, you could do all your work to get there, and then at the end of the day, the player doesn't want to come. So you've got to find out if the players would come if everything was okay.
So it means your Christmas is going to be pretty busy, I guess. Yeah,
it's a long Christmas, especially 2 away games, Boxing Day and then Leicester. Looking forward to going back to Palace. It's a fabulous atmosphere at Palace. It's one of those special grounds. So it's been nice. It'd be nice to go back there, but it does mean working on Christmas Day, and it's a long. I don't like hotels, if I'm honest. I think that's the least enjoyable thing for me. Coaches and hotels, motorway, should I say, and hotels.
Thank you.
Anything?
Yeah, we just mentioned obviously bringing players in January. You have to offload players, especially strikers, if you want to bring someone in. Well,
there's always casualties, isn't there? I think you've got to look at your squad as and when you can get somebody in. I don't think you can plan for definite. There'll be certain lads in my mind I think will try and find new pastures, because they're not getting much of a game time with us. But we've still got to have the 25-man squad.
There's some tough decisions to make then when having those conversations.
They're always tough, yeah. When you tell a player he's not in your 25, or you think he'll have to go elsewhere for game time, they're always tough decisions. But we've got to make sure we've got better players in first. It's no good, other than that, we might as well stick with what we have.
And what's the latest with Ken Zahor? How's his recovery coming?
His training, yeah, he was involved yesterday. He's had a week with Lee, just doing his fitness-wise, etc. And he joined in with us yesterday, a bit of ball work, but then he did extra physical stuff after. It really, it's down to him. He knows what I think about him, and he knows what he's got to do now. So you never know. We could see the new Ken Zahor.
Is he available for selection tomorrow? I'm not sure about that, if I'm honest. Because he hasn't had any game time at all. I'll be talking to them today on that. He's definitely running about at the moment, so it's whether I think he could do half an hour. I honestly don't know yet.
Just on Josh Murphy, you don't tend to play him in away games. Have you sort of reconsidered that, or is that sort of a thought?
Not really. Not really. If I thought he could play in an away game, I would do. But if you want me to pick him against somebody like Coleman at Everton, I don't think so. No, it's horses for courses. Really, he's getting better. He's getting slightly better at his defensive duties, but away from home, everybody, Dominic would like me to see, five wingers playing. It never thinks about the opponents coming at you and how you can cope with that. It's extremely difficult at times, yeah. But you have to learn. It can be done. Junior
has worked very hard over the years in defensive side. Are you with me? Now he'll get criticised, especially away from home, because he doesn't create enough. But you have to look at the players he's playing against. What have they done? As in, what have they done in the past few weeks, and then what did they do against us? Are you with me? It's a you know.
Doing the tactical side of it.
Yeah, it's only tactically. Everybody, you'd love to play Murph every game, wouldn't you? Really, when you look at him, he's lovely on the eye when he's playing, when he's full of confidence, and he has got his confidence back now. He had a 3 or 4 weeks training as well where he was really down in that respect. But it's nice to see him. I think Mendes has helped him as well. I think Mendes has took a bit of pressure because now they're not just looking at one side.
Okay, we need to end there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, lads.
Thanks, Neil.